Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, I have two pieces of news for you guys. The first is good news. The second is not so good news. Everything is fine and I'm okay and everyone involved in this story is okay, but something really freaky and scary happened to me this morning that I want to tell you guys about. So the first, I'll start with the good news. Okay, we rebranded the newsletter officially, finally. So it will no longer be called Infinite Scroll. We explain why, and it's kind of a funny story in the last issue. So if you guys are not subscribed, please subscribe because you guys can read that issue. And of course, get all of our future newsletters. So we are doing 3 newsletters every single month instead of 1 a week. We're doing Hit Follow, Infinite Scroll, so we'll still have one called Infinite Scroll, and Close Friends. So Hit Follow is a creator first newsletter series. So this will be a newsletter every month where we explore who is blowing up on social media and why. It's kind of like a cheat sheet for creator trends, and it is the perfect newsletter if you are in media, PR, agency, marketing, all of that. Infinite Scroll will be kind of similar to what the Infinite Scroll podcast is, which is like viral topics broken down. So weekly headlines, deep dives, commentary, long form pieces, and analysis. So this is perfect for like media professionals, our loyal readers, you guys that listen to the pod probably. And then Close Friends is actually going to get you guys involved. So this will be kind of like thoughtful takes on viral content, a place to share perspectives. We'll ask you guys for opinions and takes on different topics, and then we will put it all together once a month. So yes, please subscribe to our newsletter. The link is in the description. My next piece of news, like I said, is not that great. Again, everyone is fine, but this is a trigger warning. If you do not want to listen to a story about a baby and a mother getting hurt, then please skip ahead. There are timestamps in the description. I completely understand if you don't want to hear this story, but something very scary happened to me this morning. So I was walking to the gym and I was looking down at my phone, I was messaging, and then when I looked back up, like several blocks in front of me was a mother on the ground, like sprawled out on the ground, clutching her baby, just screaming bloody murder, not saying any words, just screaming and sobbing uncontrollably. And the stroller was completely flipped over. No one else was on the street, like nobody was close by. And so I was like I was like trying to process what was happening. And then I guess once I kind of realized that obviously she was injured or the baby was injured and like she needed help, I just started sprinting towards her. And the whole time that I'm sprinting towards her, I'm thinking I am the worst person to be in this situation because I cannot handle gore. I cannot handle seeing limbs that are, disjointed. I can't handle blood. And so I knew that about myself. And I'm running towards her thinking, I can't get too close. If something that I see is like not right, I might faint or I might vomit. And then I'm not helpful to anyone. So as I'm running to her, I get, within yelling distance away. So I call out, I say, do you need me to call 000, which is like our version of 911 here? And she nods as she's still like screaming, like absolutely going nuts. And I was like, okay, but if I call 000, I obviously need to get closer because I need to talk to her. I need to understand what happened. So I immediately dialed 000. As I'm getting closer, 2 women who lived in houses around there come out and they come over to her and they're like thankfully like comforting her, checking on her while I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone and I'm getting an ambulance and this woman is inconsolable. Basically what happened, I thought they were hit by a car. I had to ask her, obviously, because I'm on the phone with dispatch. But no, what happened was the sidewalk was like so mangled at this one particular place. And obviously she tried to like get over it with her pram, or I don't know if she twisted her ankle or what, but her ankle and her like shin area was like all messed up. I think it was definitely broken. Like she couldn't walk on it. And anyway, she ended up falling, twisting her ankle or something, falling, and the stroller like fully flipped over. Her baby was, like quite beaten up as well. And I'm sure she was so terrified that her baby had hit its head. And like, it was, oh my God, it was horrific because she was just so distraught and obviously in so much shock. And like, I will actually never get that image out of my brain, like running towards a woman who was staring at me, like screaming her lungs out, like sobbing uncontrollably, clutching her baby. Like I had no idea what happened to them. Oh my God, it was horrific. So the ambulance came, the women that were there were helping. They were very helpful. They were so sweet. The craziest part of this whole story is that the ambulance come and we're kind of outside of like basically like a body shop for a car. Okay. And so the ambulance like pull in and they back in to the body shop's like parking lot. Okay. So they're like blocking the entrance. It's an ambulance. Okay. So they're doing what they need to do. And then while they're there, at some point, some man comes with a truck who obviously has like parts for the body shop or something. He slows down, he honks, and he's like, move to an ambulance. Me and then one of the women were like, it's an ambulance, bro. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, go around. No. Oh my God. It was wild. That actually like enraged me and I had so much adrenaline already. So anyways, they were off to the hospital. I think they will be completely fine. It was just like the scariest thing. And I actually ended up going to the gym because I was like, well, what am I going to do now? Like, I'm not going to get this scene out of my head. I was like all hyped up, you know, I was like on all this adrenaline. I was like, I'm not going to be able to just like go home and start work. So I was like, I might as well go to the gym. I'm right here. And I'm not kidding. I did what was supposed to be a 60-minute lifting session in 30 minutes, and it was basically a HIIT session. Like I didn't listen to music or a podcast. I did not stop. It was like the most adrenaline that I have ever had. It was so intense. And also for context, I was a lifeguard, okay? So like I, in theory, at some point used to have pretty extensive training in like first aid and emergency situations. But as I have gotten older, like I can handle them less and less and less. Like I really, and I know myself now, like I just know I cannot handle them well. So it was a very like tough situation for everyone involved, obviously. I'm so glad the baby and the mom, like I think they will be okay, but it was so scary. With that being said, I did have a few stories that I wanted to cover today that I felt required a bit more like brain power, like a bit of critical thinking, a bit of research, you know, like I wanted to talk about Sydney Sweeney for the American Eagle and what that represents and stuff. But I really just needed some stories that I felt I could speak to without trying too hard, if that makes sense. Because my day started off really stressful and I really couldn't kind of get back down to earth until just a couple of hours ago. So with that being said, let's get into the stories for today. The first story that I have for you guys is that the Kid LAROI has seemingly confirmed his split from Tate McRae, and it also seems like he confirmed the existence of celebrity slander campaigns in the process. After weeks of speculation that the Kid LAROI and Tate McRae were no longer together, it seems LAROI was forced to address the allegations after fans started accusing him of orchestrating a paid slander campaign against Tate on Twitter. So yes, he shared a screenshot on Twitter of a group chat called LAROI Social. So it's like him and his, management, his social team, whatever. In the screenshot, he sent a link to a Twitter thread to this group and he wrote, "Guys, is this coming internally? If so, can we please have these taken down? Tate and I are on good terms, and this just looks messy/whack." Someone in the chat wrote back, "Yeah, we'll make moves on this." Someone else wrote, "Definitely didn't come from us. That's fucked up." And then he quote tweeted this saying, "So y'all know I have nothing to do with this and I do not co-sign this behavior whatsoever, working on getting these removed." So yeah, him saying Tate and I are on good terms to his team, most people are like, okay, well that obviously confirms that they're broken up, because that's what you say about somebody when you break up with them, but it's all fine. We're on good terms, right? Two things I wanted to touch on here. First, we posted a TikTok about this breakup yesterday, and like so many of the comments, I think this just like made me realize, I guess, how young their fan base is, which makes sense because they're both so young. But the comments are just filled with people who are either really young or like delusionally parasocial, okay? Just being like, that confirms nothing. We're on good terms. That could just mean that the relationship is on good terms. But like once you've been in serious relationships, you would never refer to your partner as, "Oh, we're on good terms." Like, oh, if somebody asked me, "How's your marriage?" "Oh yeah, like we're on good terms." No, that is what you reserve for somebody who you are exes with. Imagine I was like, "Yeah, Sean and I were on good terms." Like, no, yeah, we're still married. Yeah, we're happily married. Yeah, we're going through shit, like whatever. You would, of course, just be like, "We are still together." Saying Tate and I are on good terms to his team who would know that they're broken up, I'm going to say that means that they're broken up. Anyways, as I mentioned before, the actually interesting part of this whole story is that the Kid LAROI kind of indirectly exposed our suspicions about celebrity PR smear campaigns by sharing that he essentially immediately went to his team assuming that it was possible that these slanderous tweets against Tate were coming from his team. And even though they say that they're not coming from the team, the fact that he even entertained that it could be from his team confirms that these targeted smear campaigns are real, which obviously has been a very big topic of conversation this year with the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni situation. And then that kind of snowballed into a bigger conversation about the fact that, are women in the media intentionally being smeared? Like, are there these smear campaigns that are intentionally being paid for or like kind of put out there by different teams for different celebrities? So I really feel like this screenshot gave us more insight into the inner workings of these giant celebrity PR machines than we've had in a long time. And this one, we can't deny. Like, he literally thought, the first thought was this internal? Like, did this come internally from my team? Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is E! News' cancellation has sparked discussion about the state of entertainment news journalism in the era of TikTok. Iconic celebrity news show E! News has been canceled after 34 years on air. E! News initially shut down in 2020 due to the pandemic and then was revived in 2022. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys were the same if you're 90s babies, but like, I was addicted to E! News. I mean, I don't think that would surprise anyone. I literally started a company so that I can report on entertainment news every single day as my job. Like, I was addicted to this shit, okay? Obviously, this is kind of a mainstream story. We don't normally cover stuff like this, but I wanted to cover it because of the reasons why it was reportedly canceled. So this is from People. Quote, E! News is being canceled as part of the network's shift towards prioritizing digital and social content. The show's 11 p.m. time slot no longer best serves the audience, who now prefer real-time digital coverage. And then former E! News host Liliana Vazquez made a TikTok saying she's not surprised, and she had some thoughts on the state of entertainment news journalism just in general in the TikTok era. So here's what she said.
The reason that E! News didn't work in a taped format is, number one, it's far too edited for today's consumption. Right now, I can jump on TikTok or Instagram stories or Instagram reels and get real live hot takes in the moment that are reactive to what is happening when it comes to entertainment news. By the time a story gets put on E! News at 11:30 p.m. at night, the story's dead. It happened 12 hours ago when TikTok was reacting to it. I go straight to TikTok if I want to hear about the Blake Lively scandal. I'm not turning on my TV at 7 p.m. to hear what some watered down version of that story is. And the reason I know it's watered down is because I lived this life. Any story that we put on air, we had to put through 10 different filters. And were those filters unbiased? Hell no. We had to communicate with the publicists, with the managers, oftentimes directly with the celebrity if they were a show friendly. So to think that you were getting an authentic, fair version of entertainment news on air, not possible, you guys.
I think part of what's missing to this conversation, because yes, like, of course, it's unsurprising that TikTok creators are getting to the news first, right? And they have less red tape around what they can and cannot say. I mean, that's why we record mini on the same day as we publish it. Like, people always think that we record it a day before, but we don't. We record it, we prep it, record it, edit it, and upload it all in the same day. So it's like super, super current. But if you listen to Mini frequently, then you guys would know I do cover stories that are sometimes a couple days old, even like a couple weeks old, if it just comes across my desk and I think it's still relevant. And I think the piece that is missing here from this conversation is like, yes, TikTok has absolutely changed the immediacy that we expect like entertainment news to come. But at the same time, it's also like that parasocial element that I think traditional newsrooms still don't have. They had it with Nightly Pop when it was Hunter, Justin, Morgan Stewart, Nina, like that. I think audiences felt a bit more parasocial and like a bit more connected to that show. But yeah, that's the thing that's missing. Entertainment news journalism now is about opinion and commentary. Like, we can get the news on TikTok, we can get the news from wherever we need to, but people follow these accounts and people are invested in this space now because they want those people's opinions. Like they feel connected to the host or to the creator, and they want to hear what they personally feel about these stories. And that's something that broadcast journalism in a news capacity is like not going to do. That's why Nightly Pop was so relevant, because they did share their opinions. The other thing that I think they could have done differently is being flexible on reporting on stories on social first when they first break before you have published them on your more like official channels, right? Like for example, I posted yesterday about the Kid LAROI and Tate McRae on TikTok, and I could have waited until I published it here on Mini and used a clip from that, or like waited until like this is like our main platform, right? So like it makes sense, like, okay, this is published now officially here, and then we'll put that snippet or whatever on social. Like, no, I was like, well, this is blowing up right now, and it did. And we have almost 1 million views on that video in less than 24 hours. And that's because I was like, well, we got to get this up ASAP because we got to capitalize on the social traction, and then I will cover it on Mini tomorrow, and like that's also fine. So many times publishers will not cover a story on social until they've written it or until they've published it wherever their like main kind of focus is, but that does not work in the digital era, because social is not always a driver to something else. Like it's its own individual publishing platform at this point, so you need to treat it as such. Okay, the last story that I have for you guys is that Gwyneth Paltrow has been tapped by Astronomer post-cheating scandal. Okay, we definitely don't need to go into the play-by-play of this. Also, I'm sorry, this is like another kind of mainstream story, but all of these stories are like somewhat mainstream, but they're about like the conversations that people are having online about these stories, okay? So we definitely don't need to go into the ins and outs of the cheating scandal, but Astronomer was the company that Andy Byron and Kristen Cabot of the, infamous Coldplay Jumbotron cheating scandal both worked for. Astronomer is essentially like an operations tech platform, and this is a very random company to go viral in the way that it has. So to capitalize on this virality and all the memes that this has generated, Astronomer has brought in Gwyneth Paltrow as a, quote, temporary spokesperson. Obviously, Gwyneth Paltrow is the ex-wife to Chris Martin, who is the frontman of Coldplay, so that is her connection to this incident. So the company recently posted a video to social media with the caption reading, "Thank you for your interest in Astronomer."
Hi, I'm Gwyneth Paltrow. I've been hired on a very temporary basis to speak on behalf of the 300 plus employees at Astronomer. Astronomer has gotten a lot of questions over the last few days, and they wanted me to answer the most common ones. Yes, Astronomer is the best place to run Apache Airflow, unifying the experience of running data, ML, and AI pipelines at scale. We've been thrilled so many people have a newfound interest in data workflow automation. As for the other questions we've received, yes, there is still room available at our Beyond Analytics event in September. We will now be returning to what we do best, delivering game-changing results for our customers. Thank you for your interest in Astronomer.
Unsurprisingly, one of the top comments under this video on X describes it as a PR masterclass, because truly what a way for Astronomer to take this and spin it and to show like, okay, we're not going to take this scandal too seriously. Like, I mean, they're taking it seriously in the ways that they need to, but like we're going to play this up too. We're going to like lean in a little bit, even though I am sure it is wreaking absolute havoc behind the scenes. They're not going to let us know that, right? They're going to be like, everything is business as usual, to the point that we have money to hire Gwyneth Paltrow. And now everyone is talking so positively about the company. Not that they were talking negatively about the company itself, but of course, like, this is a way to take negative press kind of that you are involved in, even if it's not directly about you, and like spin it into something that now everybody's like, wow, that is really relevant, on the pulse, really funny. Like, good for you. However, some of the conversation, there's a lot of users online who are now even more skeptical of the scandal. There are so many people now saying that this whole thing felt staged. As in the cheating scandal, Chris Martin being involved, because they're like, how would they get Gwyneth Paltrow so quickly? I'll tell you how. With millions of dollars. Like, that's how. That probably took her at the most half a day to record. Okay? Like, there is no way that Andy and Kristen would destroy their reputations for this like buzzy PR moment for a company that they worked for. I don't know if Andy has stakes. I've seen very conflicting things if he was like a co-founder or had stakes in the company, but either way, Kristen did not. She was just an employee as far as we know. And like the whole all PR is good PR thing doesn't apply to individuals working in corporate, in regular jobs. Like, they were private citizens. They were not trying to build a public persona, a public personal brand to further some like fame agenda. Like, there would be no benefit to them having this bad PR. There would be no benefit to them on an individual level to go in on some gag like this. Both of them, their names and reputations have been absolutely destroyed. Do I think Andy will go get some other CEO job soon? Like, yes. Do I think Kristen will ever work again? Like, honestly, maybe not. And that's obviously just the double standard, okay? But regardless, neither of them would ever in a million years do that. Why would they do that? They're not trying to get PR for themselves personally. Like, they're not trying to get any type of bad PR, especially working in corporate at like so high up. Neither of them are trying to get themselves any type of bad PR. They are like private citizens, like corporate workers. Like, no. The company got Gwyneth Paltrow because they have enough money to get Gwyneth Paltrow. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Subscribe to our newsletter. Oh yeah, I didn't even tell you what it was called. It's called Keep Scrolling For, because that's what we would write at the top of every newsletter, keep scrolling for, blah, blah, blah. So we were like, you know what, Infinite Scroll. If you read the most recent issue of Infinite Scroll, you'll find out why we had to change the name, why we decided to change the name. But yes, it is called Keep Scrolling For. All right, guys, I love you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.